My name is Jake. I'm with the library here. I'm just going to be helping moderate. Nothing too fancy, but if we just want to go down the line, introduce yourselves, what you're running for, and maybe just a quick why you're running.
All right. Well, Jake, thank you for hosting, and also thank you to Degenstein. I'm Josh Brocious. I'm seeking re-election for mayor. And the reason why I'm running is, I just want to continue to move the city forward on things that we have accomplished in the last 4 years, whether it's across the city, in the mayor's office, or with the police department. We've made a lot of progress moving the city forward into 2025. We were behind on times, and I'm just trying to bring that engagement to the police department, to the community, things that we have never done before, that other communities are doing, that we need to start doing. So that's my goal here in the next 4 years, is to continue that community engagement, to continue to bring new ideas, things that are being done in other communities that we should be trying to incorporate here in Sunbury. And it's one of those things here, I applaud everyone who did show up here tonight, because it shows that actions speak louder than words. So a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to run for office, this is what I'm going to do, but then when it comes down to taking action, do they do what they said they're going to do? Are they going to follow through on what they're going to follow through on? And that's the one thing I will be with people, is being honest and transparent. We may not agree on things, but we'll understand each other's viewpoints and hopefully somewhere meet in the middle. So that's the aspect I want to bring to the city, and I hope I've earned your vote to be able to do that for another 4 years. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm Jim Brumbaugh. Excuse me. I'm running for city council on a 2-year term. I am now in charge of the code department. The code department is in dire straits, being very honest with everybody. As the evening progresses, you're going to find out why. I'm in the code office. It wasn't, well, I shouldn't say it wasn't a choice. It was asked by city council whether or not I would accept that. And I said yes. And I would have said regardless, I would have said yes, even if I would have known that the code department was in the trouble it's in. That's all I can say is, I'm straight up, I'm not going to bullshit nobody, and as the evening progresses, the only thing I'm asking for is everybody that's here tonight, when you leave here, please think carefully which candidate is better for the position of code office. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Tara Sprinkle. I'm running for Shikellamy School Board. I'm not a graduate of Shikellamy, but I've been living in the school district for 26 years now. I have 4 students. 3 of them have graduated from Shikellamy. I still have a student who's in 10th grade. I've attended a lot of school board meetings over the time. I've been involved in a lot of different things. I was treasurer of Oakland PTA for 7 years. So I've seen a lot of things inside the school district. There's a lot of things we can work on fixing. We have to make sure that all of our students have the best educational opportunities we can provide for them. I don't think that's happening right now. I also think we lack transparency a lot of times. Our communications between our schools and our parents and taxpayers can be bettered. And there's a lot of things I want to do. I want to see the school board, which has been very divided the last few years. I want to see and try to bring the school board together and work as a true team. Not saying we have to agree on everything, not saying votes have to be 9-0, but we have to work together as a team and not work as a divisive unit. That's the only way we can create a better environment and create better opportunities for our kids, is if we all work together. Thank you.
I'm Victoria Rosencrantz, running for Sunbury City Council. Thank you, Degenstein, for hosting this event. Just going to highlight a few things. Some of my things that I would like to see is strengthen the economic development here in Sunbury. I am a member of the Central Susquehanna, the Central PA Chamber of Commerce. I'm also a member of Sunbury Revitalization and the Think Sunbury. and I align with their mission. And also I'm excited about the community blueprint program that they're bringing to Sunbury. Public safety is another highlight that I stand behind. I support the Sunbury Police Department. I believe that we need to enhance our police department and more officers, not be taking away officers. Violent prevention programs, which they do have a crime watch that I am part of. Community engagement with the police department. I took a state police course, community citizen course, and I did that so that I could understand what our police officers go through on a day-to-day out there, and the decisions, quick decisions that they have to make. I was part of the fire department consolidation. I sat on that committee. And also we need to invest in our infrastructure when it comes to public safety. Economic development, again, our small businesses are a vital part of our community. During COVID, myself and my wife, we created a social media page. We do a lot of marketing. We do this all for free. And during that time, even during COVID, we had 27 businesses open in the city of Sunbury, which was unreal. We lost a few of those, but we've gained more, and we need to, and that's where these programs come in as far as the blueprint and Think Sunbury, transparency. It needs to be, my public service is motivated by change. And we hear that too, that council needs to work together. I absolutely believe that. And there needs to be transparency. I file a lot of right to knows in the city, and I research those things. And the other thing is everyone belongs in the city, okay? And enhancing their quality of life. And as a dedicated leader, I sit on many board of directors. I especially advocated for youth in the CASA program in our court system. I'm the board of directors of Northumberland. I sit on the board for Northumberland County Children and Youth. I'm on the board of directors for the Arc Susquehanna Valley. Making sure, and those two things are vital in our community, advocating for those youth and people with intellectual disabilities. Also want to promote the park and recreation area. I think there's so many great things in the city of Sunbury. I stood behind the sweep program, and I do to this day, and past Mayor Kurt Karlovich and the Boy Scouts have given hundreds of hours into our community. It's a green space in our community, and it's very well needed and bringing education. I also support the Sunbury Skate Park. There is a new skate park association. Unfortunately, since that skate park was put in, there wasn't much upkeep to that park. I know what people, they think, and you can talk to Chief Remingen, the crime rate at that skate park is not zero, but it's not what the community thinks it is. And they had a fundraiser in June, which generated a lot of folks coming in. That park is used every day. And the other thing is that I have, my shared vision for this city is that we look at everything in our city from the lens of equity, that it is fair for all the folks that live in this city. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria.
Good evening, y'all. My name is Bruce Bauman. I am running for Shikellamy School Board this year. I've lived in Sunbury for 8-9 years. I am, full disclosure, I'm not originally from the area. I'm not a graduate of the Shikellamy School District. I do have a son in 5th grade, and I'm just a regular guy. I'm a dad that is concerned about the way things are going in our schools, the lack of transparency, as I've said here. Some of the decisions, the superintendent one comes to mind. I'm running I want to get it right. I don't care about being the mayor. And I think that's what a lot of other folks here have said, but that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to run so that we can get this right and do better for our kids, do better for our teachers.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
So if anyone else does have some questions, there are cards in the back. Feel free to fill those in. You can bring them up here. Before I launch into those, I just want to ask a couple questions here. Give you guys about 3 minutes each to answer them. So we'll start off with our first one here. If elected, what is your biggest goal for change, proposals you hope to get through, just anything that you think you need to change, what you'd like to change? So here with Josh.
So the biggest thing I want to change but do differently is how do we get more foot traffic in the city of Sunbury? That's what a lot of communities thrive on, is their foot traffic. And if you have foot traffic generates businesses for businesses. You have people coming downtown, you have people going throughout the city spending money. That's what we need to figure out. My goal and how we do that is our river. Our river is one of our biggest assets. No one else has a river like we do. We should be having boat races, we should be having fishing contests, we should be doing these things. We need to be accessing that river to bring recreational activities to the city of Sunbury. Every community has their own niche. Our niche is the river. If you look at Shamokin, they have the AOAA. They're capitalizing on that AOAA while bringing their UTVs or ATVs downtown to the businesses. You have Lewisburg, you have Bloomsburg, you have Selinsburg that have the college, that have constant foot traffic. We need to get foot traffic in the city of Sunbury. And if we do that, our businesses will have support, that there's a thriving number of people coming to Sunbury all the time to generate more businesses. So that's my biggest goal, my biggest advocate for change would be figuring out how we can do more with that river and more with our recreation. We have an ice rink. It's the closest ice rink within 50 miles. We need to advertise that more. We have Bucknell playing their games there. We have Susquehanna playing their games there. We need to partner with them and possibly get another ice rink built that's open all year round so the kids have things to do, because the kids are our future. We gotta have a future for our kids. We gotta have a reason for families to move to Sunbury, to move into the Shikellamy School District. They gotta have things to do. And that's my goal, generate more things for families to do and reasons for people to come to Sunbury. That's my change.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Boomba, same question?
My change would be to get the code office in line where it should be. Not only working with the code office, but Jeff, our city clerk, his secretary in there, which is very, very efficient. We do not have any certified people in the code office. When they go out, I want them to be able to answer honestly to the citizens with their problems and concerns. Now, I've made some changes. Some people aren't too happy with me, but that's the way it is. Over time, they were not getting as many calls in a week that I thought they should. I stopped overtime immediately. We had people coming in at 7, maybe say 7:40, and they would clock the clock, but they didn't start till 8 o'clock. Now this doesn't sound like much, but over a year with a bunch of employees, that adds up at time and a half. We're not talking hundreds of dollars, we're talking thousands of dollars. There's going to be some more changes tomorrow down there. Today we were supposed to start a walk around town, not drive around, walk around town. There's so many things behind fences, behind houses that you don't see by driving. Another issue I have is a lot of the landlords in Sunbury that do not take care of their properties. If you have a nice block, you get one bad landlord in there with maybe 4 apartments in a house. Do you know what that does to the value of your property? It affects everybody. And if they're not going to take care of their properties, they shouldn't be in Sunbury. It's that simple. Now, went out on the street with the code office now, I don't know how many days since I took that job on. And to me, it is a job. It's not, a title. The title doesn't mean anything to me. It just doesn't. I've been an auctioneer for 50-some odd years with a colonel's degree. I don't advertise colonel. I advertise Jim Robo. That's just the way it is. And I just seen so many things this week that I could not believe. When code officers have to walk into a house with piles of dog crap that they have to watch where they walk, that's not right. What about the kids that live in some of these houses? This stuff has to be cleaned up, and I'm the guy to clean it up.
Thank you, Mr.
All right,
Boomba.
Mike?
That's your time.
Oh, that's my time. It's quick. I can go on for hours.
Ms. Frankel?
The major thing I would like to attempt to do, and I feel like I can do it, is we need to do a better job of providing a better education for all of our students. And that starts with letting the teachers have a voice in the district. They're the professionals in the room. We should be going to them saying, what tools do you need that you're not getting to provide our students a better education? And that goes across the board for every single student. In the year 2023-2024, out of every school district in the state of Pennsylvania, and there's almost 500, we had the 13th highest percentage of dropouts in the entire state of Pennsylvania. I believe that number was 44 students dropped out of our high school that school year. As I equate it, walk into your high school the first day of school, walk past 2 classrooms, pick those classrooms, and those students were no longer in our district by the time the school year was over. We have to do better by our students. We have got to provide them the tools that they need, which means we've got to provide the teachers the tools that they need to provide a quality education. And I will take this all the way back to kindergarten. We have to start teaching our kids to love being in school. Schools cannot be a prison. They have got to be a place where students feel safe and they learn and they want to be there. If we start teaching that at the younger grades, it will work its way up with them, and when they get to high school, they won't want to drop out. My goal is to save every kid. People tell me I'm crazy for wanting that goal. Said you'll never get to 100%. But if we strive to save 100% of our students, we're going to save a lot more than if we say, we're good with 75%. Maybe if we strive for 100%, we get to 90%. If we're only striving for 75%, where are we happy? 60%? 70%? And if we meet our goal of 75%, then what? What about the other 25% of our students? We've got to strive to save every student. And it's got to start by listening to our teachers and what they need, whether it's supplies, whether it's extra support staff, or anything like that. We've got to listen to our teachers. Our teachers are our most important assets because they're the ones in the school. And they're the ones who have the knowledge, they're the professionals. You don't go to your doctor and ask them how to fix your car. So why are we letting people who aren't in our schools with the profession, why are we letting them make decisions and not listening to our teachers?
Thank you, Ms. Frankel. Ms. Rosencrantz?
Yes, okay, so one of the things that, and of course, Mr. Brumbaugh has spoke about, which is blight in our community, and we need to make sure that this is fair for all. What this person's doing over here and this one, and oh, you don't need a contract, and you don't, it needs to be fair across the board. Every citizen, every property owner, everybody needs to follow the rules, and that's how we're going to be able to move that forward. Also, those in the office are making sure that there's proper, the contractors that are coming in, that they're insured. I'm hearing stories. Somebody has $20-some thousand damage to their house from a contractor because he had a subcontractor come in. Those are things that, they need to be following through. And making sure that, they're doing the right thing, that those, doing the right information, that they have their insurance and all those things. Again, as Mayor Brochus spoke of, is recreation in the city. He spoke about the river. I am on the board of directors for the Riverboat Society. Riverboats coming to Northumberland, and how can, Sunbury, and that's going to bring tourism into our valley, not just Sunbury, but it's going to, bring it all over. And we need to be thinking about how can we partner with them? What can we do? What can, we do on the Sunbury side? We have a walkable downtown. The other thing is, I know they've done studies on walking paths. They've done bicycle path, things like that. unfortunately, the late John Barnhart, one of the things he was looking at was a walking path on the dike, and that, looking at that study along with the municipal authority. And also they thinking about, you know, that walking path from Sunbury all the way to the marina, which would be amazing because you could bike all the way over there and things like that. So we do have to use our resources, you know, and get that tourism in. That brings money into our valley, not just Sunbury, but, you know, hotels, things like that. Back in 2021, the city was given a grant for $4,000 for an RC track. And that was because a business owner came forward and said, hey, you know, is there a plot of land that we could put this RC track on? So there's still $4,000 sitting there for this grant for a RC track. And I've been doing a lot of studies, and I've been, you know, looking up information. I've been talking to RC track enthusiasts, and one of the, oh, okay. So even the RC track, you could do pay per fee, $12,000, you know, $1,200 you could do. If they did a corporate event, it could be $10,000, okay? The other thing we need to be doing is making sure we're collecting the fees correctly, amusement machines and parking fees and all of that. I've done right to knows on it. It's not being done correctly, okay?
Thank you. Rosencrantz? And at the end, big changes that you hope to get through if elected?
The big one that I want to see is more transparency within the school board and just within the school system in general. I know I've spent time looking around, like permanently looking around the school's website, their Facebook pages, and trying to find when's the next school board meeting, what's the agenda going to look like, and I found it difficult, but then again, I'm a little technology stunted at times, whatever. That said, you know, I feel like we need to make sure that we're listening to, the school board is listening to the teachers, it's also listening to the students, it's listening to the parents, and even the auxiliary staff, the janitors and the cafeteria workers, they're all important in making sure that our kids get the best education and the best school experience possible. And I'd like to see a more robust or more complete way, I should say, to make sure that we are hearing everybody's voices and we are getting a chance to hear them. From the school board meetings that I've gone to, it seems like there's a lack of interest in certain topics and more interest in the other, and I don't think that's fair to all of our kids, all of our teachers. So trying to create a better communication system between all parties involved to make sure that our kids have everything they need, the teachers have what they need, and we're doing the best we can for them.
Thank you. I have some questions coming in, so I'm going to open up to questions from the public here. Our first one is for all up here, and since you just touched on this subject a little, I think we'll start at the end here. What steps will you take to ensure transparency? So if you want to open this up, Mr. Bowman.
I'd like to see more student involvement at the school board meetings. I know that I've seen some students there from government council or whatever, what have you. I'd like to see more students there. I'd like to see more teachers there represented. Yeah, I'm drawing a complete blank. I'm sorry, putting me on the spot.
Sorry. Yep.
I'm good, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So the question was, what would I do?
What steps will you take to ensure
Transparency.
transparency from your office?
Yeah, so obviously if I, whatever department I would be assigned to, take those phone calls and answer those phone calls. That's one of the things that I'm hearing in the community is I've called, no one's called me back. You know, and not, this isn't just from regular citizens, but this is people that are involved and volunteering for things, and they're not getting called back, and that's not okay. The other thing is, you know, the agenda. So yes, back during COVID, when they were, you know, doing the Zoom meetings and things like that, I advocated way back then that, you know, again, it was sort of convoluted. It's just, you know, when you went on the website, you had to go into this doc folder. Well, the general public doesn't know how to do that. I knew how to do that, go in and to click on that folder and find the agenda. The general public doesn't. So I asked over and over and over again, and we finally got an agenda button stuck on the website. Okay, that's great. Now the agenda's there, but here's the other thing I'm asking for. We need to have more information on the agenda. Okay, it's one little line, and it's the person's name. Well, that doesn't tell me anything, okay? And then I don't know anything until those minutes get put out there. The minutes do get out there pretty quick because they can't put those minutes up until they're approved, okay? So it takes like a month or so, a month and a half, so those minutes get out there. But last council meeting, a citizen asked, well, where's the first reading? Okay, when you're doing a first reading of something, it needs to be there. Because they're saying, you agree, I agree, you 5 votes, and we're all going, well, what was the first reading? What did you change? Okay? And that was about the bicycles on the pavement or whatever, okay? So those documents should be out there. Shikellamy does a great job with that, because you can see those documents out there. But the citizens need to be able to look at the first reading. Because that way, by the second reading, if there's something in there that we don't agree with, we should be able to voice our opinion and say, wait a minute, I think we might need to adjust this a little bit, okay? You know, the website, it's okay, it's better than it was, but I just think, you know, I was in there today and I was just looking at documents. There's hardly any documents on the city website, okay? I was actually trying to find out, I have the document because I filed a right to know, but I went out there and I was looking for the emergency management plan for the city. You know, so yeah, it's on there under E-code or whatever, but I'm looking for the actual document, not the code of what's supposed to be in that document. It's not there, okay? And so that is not transparency. Is it on purpose? I don't think it's on purpose. I think it's just, we've got to have that information out there. Because here's the thing, if you put the information out there, you're gonna have to return so many phone calls? No. So if you address the situation, you're gonna save people a lot of time. The citizens have a right to the information. Filing right to knows are wonderful. I know how to do that. I've appealed right to knows. I've appealed right to knows to the court. I shouldn't have to do that, okay? We shouldn't have to do that. We should be able to walk in there anytime, and most times I will tell you, if you know, Jeff does a great job, depending on what I'm asking for, it might take a few days or whatever, but we've got to get better with that. And when citizens stand up in a meeting and they're asking questions, now, here's the thing, I will tell you, they don't have to answer us, okay? That's how the ordinance is. Same with school board. You can address the situation, but they don't have to answer you.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Frankel?
For transparency purposes, the first thing I'd like to see addressed, and I'm hoping that it will be addressed, is we need to revamp our website. Our website is hard to navigate, it's not very user-friendly. I know people will call me and say, hey, what's on the agenda? And I'll be like, well, it's on the website. But it's to navigate it is like a 10-step process to find the agenda. And other information that should be on the website. When we do contracts, we only put the contracts on our website right now that the board wants you to see. Like during the negotiation process with the teachers last year. You got to see what the contract offers were because the board wanted you to see them. But if you ask for other contracts, and I'm now hopefully with the new superintendent, maybe this will change, but I was told a lot of times, oh, you have to file a right to know for that. It's public information. Why do I have to file a right to know? Just give me it. Instead of me wasting time and you wasting time answering me and jumping through hoops, just give me the information. But some of that information could easily just be posted on the website and eliminate that entire process altogether. And as far as, I know Vicki said here about the board doesn't have to answer the questions, and she's absolutely right. During public comment, the board does not have to answer questions. But I've looked through a lot of school board agendas since I've started this process of running. And I went to the Pottsville School District and I was looking over their agendas. They have a policy down at Pottsville where if you submit a question on an agenda item before a certain point of the day of the meeting, I think it's 2 p.m., the board allots up to the first 30 minutes of their school board meeting to answer questions sent to them by the public, as long as it's on an agenda item, and as long as it's not something confidential like about a student or about a personnel matter. I would like to see us move in that direction, where you open it up so if the public has a question about a construction project that's on the agenda or something else that's on the agenda, they can ask the board the question and the board will actually answer the question without having to jump through hoops for the public to get the answers they deserve. So those are the things that I would start with to open up transparency in the school district.
Thank you. Mr. Brumbaugh, steps you take towards transparency?
I got involved in this because I had an issue on my property We live up in North 9th Street here in Sunbury. One of the council members came up, looked the situation over and said, not a problem, we can take care of it in no time. Well, what's no time? 2 years later, not 2 weeks, not 2 days, 2 years later, I start going to the council meetings. And here I am, now I'm in charge of the code office. You have to get involved. I seen some of you folks at the meetings, but there's not enough people there. I thought there was gonna be 100, 150 people here. I got a sheet here for everybody, but thank God we have what we have here. But on the last stop, if you have an issue, you call the code office. If they don't respond, I'm not saying in 10 minutes, in a reasonable amount of time that day, there has to be an answer, you know, and it affects everybody. It affects everybody in the city. And that, calling somebody that many times over a 2-year period and not one callback, that is not fair to anybody. If you have an issue, it might not be a big issue to my wife there, but it might be a real issue to this gentleman sitting over here because it affects him directly. So, I'm running on a 2-year term, and that's all I'm asking for, is give me those 2 years. And if you want to see a difference in the code office in Sunbury, I'm your guy. That's all I can tell you, folks. But think about it hard till election day. I'm doing a write-in campaign. Toughest campaign to win. It is tough. But if enough people get the message and know that I care about them and not having the office down here, I don't care if people, they come up, oh, hey, councilman. No, I'm Jim. I'm Jim. I'm the same as you. It's just the way it is. I'm just an average guy. But I'll tell you what, if you want to see some changes, there will be definite changes.
Thank you, Mr. Brubaugh.
You're welcome.
Mayor Brochus?
I think, obviously, transparency is just giving the people what they want, whatever documents they want, as long as we can legally give them to them. I mean, at the council meetings, as Victoria said, she's correct, we don't have to answer the questions, but if any questions directed at me and I can answer it legally, I'll answer it. I have nothing to hide. It's the voters, it's the citizens that we answer to. We're being held, we should be held accountable for what we're doing, and when they ask the question, we should answer it. We shouldn't say, well, I'll get back to you, or we'll look into that. No, if tell them the truth, what they want to hear. If you don't know the answer, say, hey, I don't know the answer. I'll get back to you on that. And that's what I do at council meetings. I'll answer your questions. Now, going back to right to knows, I mean, try to take pride in my office with Jeff and Robin. We try to get those right to knows back to you as quickly as we possibly can. You know, if it's documents we have right there in the office, we'll make the copy and give it to you. You don't have to file a right to know. Like, we work for the citizens. We work for the taxpayers. They're our bosses. They pay the salaries. So when they come in and ask something, if we can legally give it to you, we will give it to you. Now, at times, like I said, we may not have the documents ready for you, but, you know, we'll get them to you. We'll get you the answers that you're asking. So, and once again, you know, as Victoria said, if there is an issue with the process, let us know how we can make it easier for everybody. And like I said, I remember when she said about having the button on the website. It took a while, we got it, but it made it easier. And it's one of those things, we can't address issues unless we're told about the issue. So if there is something how we can make it easier for the right to know, let us know, or being more transparent, let us know how we can make it easier for everyone, because once again, we work for the taxpayers, we work for the citizens, and that's who we should be answering to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have a question here for our school board candidates. As a candidate for school board, what is your opinion on so much money being spent on athletics and improvements to athletic facilities instead of improving our curriculum? Ms. Frankel, if you want to open us
I
up.
guess I'll take that one. If you've been paying attention to school board, well, first of all, if you've been paying attention to my campaign, or even my personal and for me personally, I've been a critic of the amount of money spent on the stadium project. Did improvements need to be made? Absolutely. The bathrooms that were originally down there were probably originals from whenever that field was built, probably in the 60s, I would imagine. I mean, I'm 5'4", and when I can walk in the ladies' room and see over the door, there's problems. And then you felt like you were in a shoebox when you were in the bathroom because they were small. Those are things that need to be addressed. Putting a girls' locker room down there needed to be addressed, especially with the girls' soccer playing down there and field hockey and girls' track. Girls' locker room needed to be done. My problem with the whole project was from the beginning, the public was told a price tag of $5.2 million. That quickly ballooned to 8, and I think we're approaching $9 million right now. And a couple meetings ago, they put phase 3 of the stadium project up on the board. Didn't know there was a phase 3. Apparently, I've been told now that I'm crazy that there was always going to be a phase 3, but that was the first I heard of a phase 3, and phase 3 is going to cost $1.5 to $1.7 million because they want to put a second turf field down there where the current field hockey field, grass field is now. That's going to be a hard sell for me. My daughter played field hockey. So I have nothing against that sport itself, but if we're going to build an all-sports complex, then all sports should be using it, and we shouldn't need a second turf field, especially at a price tag of $1.5 to $1.7 million. And if that is anywhere like the stadium project, will it really end at $1.7 million? I would have to see some concrete numbers that we would even stay in that ballpark before I would entertain that kind of expenditure. Because we have a high school right now that's deteriorating. And we need to do something about that before we worry about putting in another sports field. And I have nothing against sports, nothing whatsoever. All of my kids have either or currently do participate in sports. But we gotta start prioritizing our finances.
Thank you, Ms. Frankel. Mr. Bowman?
I'll start off by saying I was an athlete in high school. I know the value of sports and what it can do for students and can do for kids. That said, I quite frankly feel we've been a little bit reckless with how we've been spending on the athletic department. Not saying that money isn't needed to be spent there, but I've walked through my son's school, I've walked through some of the other schools, and there's dry rotted out tiles and outlets that aren't working the right way, and it doesn't make sense to me to buy another sports car when the garage is falling apart, so to speak. I think that looking at the contracts that that the school board's given out for the various projects, seeing what the results have been, and letting the public know exactly what these contracts look like is important. And I think sitting down and really figuring out what truly needs work done in the school, what do the actual buildings need to be repaired? I believe they do. Do teachers need better supplies? There are far more important things to me than adding another field hockey field in, quite frankly.
Thank you. A question here for everyone. If elected, is there anything you plan to do to help improve things for the disabled community / mental health within our community? You would like to open, Josh?
So I'll just go to the mental health from the police department end of it. Like I said, a lot of their calls that they do respond to is some sort of starting with mental health. I mean, in the past that we have tried to get a mental health officer to grant money, council chose to go in a different direction. I mean, we haven't given up on that goal yet to try to get a mental health officer in the police department to help us when we come across those cases, throughout the city of Sunbury. I mean, if you follow our Facebook page, meaning the police department and Chief Remagen's updates, we answer over 700-800 calls every month. A lot of those calls are mental health calls. So by getting that addressed, we'll be making a step in the right direction, moving our police department forward. And other police departments have this with their officers, another resource. So we need to be looking for that to bring into our city, into our police department, because it'll just make us more rounded as a police department, especially with going towards accreditation, setting our standard high in our police department, having a standard, so that will help us there. Going back to working with disabled in the community, I know the code office, before Councilman Brumbaugh was there, when Jeff was there, they did walkarounds for the walkability with the sidewalks, seeing what sidewalks need to be repaired, what ones were in danger of tripping hazards and things like that. So the city in the past has taken those steps to, try to help the disabled. Now, is it perfect? No, it's not going to be. Is it going to be perfect anytime soon? No, it's not. But we are striving to make, the walkability for the disabled, the handicapped, or even the general public safer for everybody. And with Councilman Brumbaugh, as he announced earlier, doing walkarounds this week, I know that was on, we spoke about that was on his list to look for the walkability for the handicapped, sidewalks, tripping hazards, and things like that. So the city has taken a proactive approach. It's just a matter if we can continue on that process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Brumbaugh?
One of the big issues that I'm having a problem with is these electric bikes, electric scooters, going up and down, not only the pavements, but on the streets. They don't stop at stop signs. They're a hazard. They're a hazard. There's going to be children killed because, well, one of my friends, I don't see him here tonight, he almost hit a little girl. He said a little girl, he don't know how old, but a little girl on one of these electric scooters right out in front, never stopped at a stop sign or anything. This is dangerous. Now, I spoke with the chief about it. If they see these people, and they're not just kids. I mean, I had one pass me up here on Market Street, probably 30 miles an hour on one of the bigger bikes. And it wasn't a kid, it was an adult. If they can catch them, they will find them. They should not be on the payments, period. Here comes I can't say old because I'm old, but here comes a elderly lady down the street in her wheelchair, coming to the diner for breakfast. Boom, there goes she almost fell off her wheelchair. That's not right. It's common sense. That's all it is. And a lot of these places, you probably know some of them, your restrooms where you go into, they're not even accessible to a wheelchair. They are not accessible. It's simple things like this that are very, very important. That's about all I have to say. I can wind up for now.
Thank you. Ms. Frankel?
As a school board candidate, I think I'll address this from the aspect of mental health. I firmly believe we need to start looking at, I'd like to see a complete breakdown of our guidance counselor to student ratios and our school psychologist to student ratios. And we've got to allow our teachers to make referrals about students to those psychologists and to those guidance counselors, because they're interacting with that student 6.5, 7 hours every day. So if there's an issue that a teacher thinks may be related to mental health, that teacher should be allowed to refer a student for a more thorough evaluation by an expert in that field. And we need to start providing the support to those students that we can in school. Obviously, the parents, if they don't want, to take their child to a doctor or try to address it, and I know that's tough in our area. The pediatric psychology in our area is tough. It's hard to find a qualified one, and it's hard to find one that isn't booking out months ahead. So we've got to rely on our own in-house psychologists to provide support. And doing this is also supporting our teachers. If a student is having an issue, which could be with a student that is psychological, we need to provide that teacher with support as well and give that teacher ideas on how to handle it, because it's not fair to the other students in that classroom if one student has psychological issues and it's not being addressed. Because if a classroom has 20 students in it and you have one misbehave, whether it's just a behavioral issue or it's something else, a medical issue or mental health issue. We need to make sure that we're providing that teacher with the support so that they can be successful for the other students in that class.
Thank you. Ms. Rosencrantz?
Well, this topic is near and dear to me, so I could, again, be like Mr. Brumbaugh and go off for an hour, but I won't. So I have my talking points here. But, you know, over the years, you know, I'm out in the community, I'm out on the streets with the citizens. The United Way was so gracious. At one point, I was the DEI co-officer for the city. I took a course through Cornell University, paid for by United Way. And one of the things I did was an accessibility study on handicap parking, and I did a study on that. One of the issues that I found by doing walk around and also taking that feedback from those who have mobility issues and maybe use wheelchair vans or one of the things I find that in our parking lots in the city is that one parking lot I can think of, yep, there's a handicap spot for a van, but they have to unload out into an alley. That's not safe, okay, especially that alley. So those are some of the things that we need to look about is that accessibility, it's there, but we need to improve that. So we need to move that spot in, paint the lines here so that way, now some of the vans do unload out the back, but that would still be safe because it's in the parking lot, okay? So we have to look at some of those things. I know as, again, on the board for the ARC, these are the things that I hear in the meetings there. My friends at the ARC come to me and they say, Victoria, you know, can you ask for this? And they have been asking for years for additional parking out back, which we still haven't gotten. So maybe Mr. Brumbaugh can help us out on that. And so there, and benches. Again, some of our, you know, our folks who are from the high rises and things like that. We have a walkable downtown, but they walking from Riverfront to the dollar store, they're tired. Where can they sit? They can sit in Cameron Park, but between Cameron Park and Dollar General, there's no, where can we sit? I know this has been asked over and over the years. I know the Old Town Committee has asked, can we get some benches on Market Street? Because folks need to sit. We'll deal with the other, you know, and right away, yes, we have people that sit on the wall outside Dollar General, okay? But just because there is people's actions, it doesn't mean that we don't educate them and encourage them not to loiter. And it doesn't mean you don't bring something to the city because you think it's going to be abused, okay? That's just not how it works. So having those conversations with those.
30 seconds.
Okay, so mental health, was a mental health nurse. Here's what we need. We need programs and services in the community. It needs to be on the website. Those phone numbers need to be there. And we absolutely, absolutely support having that support officer on our police department. It is so critical in our city. I have taken phone calls. Christine has taken phone calls of people who are suicidal, and we kept them on the line until a crisis got there, okay? I have responded to crisis outside of my home, okay? The need is there, and also,
Thank
you know.
Thank you, Ms.
Yeah,
Rosencrantz.
there we go, all right.
Thank you. Mr. Bowman, how would you help mental health and disability?
So what I do for work now is I'm a direct support professional for individuals on the autism spectrum. I was originally over at the CSG Bakery here in town working with folks. I work for a different office now. And something that I have discovered through all of my time doing this is information is key. And I think that there is a lot of maybe misinformation or confusion about what mental health issues, what particular possibly autism looks like in children growing up, because it looks far different from you and I than it would for a 10-year-old. And for me, what I would want to do is provide as much information to teachers, to guidance counselors, whether they probably already have it. Anybody that's involved with the school, I want them to be able to see, to know what depression, what anxiety, what ADHD looks like in a 10-year-old, what, you know, a kid that may be on the spectrum looks like. What do they do? The more knowledge that we have, the more we're able to see this and provide support in whatever form or fashion that might be. Is it having more counselors in school? Is it, as Tara had said, the ability for teachers to sort of make referrals when they see things? You know, there's a bunch of different options here, and I want to listen and learn about the potentiality of all of them and go from there.
Thank you. Right here, another question here to wrap us up here. We talked a lot about change today, what you'd like to do to change things, but what is a current initiative or something that is going well that you believe in, that you hope to either expand on or continue supporting if you're elected? I feel like I'm picking on you a lot, Josh.
I have no problem, I have no problem.
All right, if you don't mind starting us off.
So I think one thing that we just started in my office with Jeff taking the lead on is community service hours. A lot of people need community service hours and want to donate community service hours to the city of Sunbury. And as of right now, as of today, we have over 2,500 hours of community service to the city of Sunbury. Something that has never been done before. And this would be as simple as picking up garbage, donating for time at events, for cleanup, setup, whatever it may be. So that's something that we would like to continue to expand on, not just for Sunbury, but people who owe hours, but expand, have more people come in and do more hours for Sunbury. Have them help the different organizations in the city, but where they need volunteers. That's one thing there. Also is the community outreach with the police department. When Chief Remingen and I got together, we said, how can we do better? How can we, move the city forward? In that time frame, with the help of Victoria and many other citizens, we got the trunk or treat that we just had a few days ago. I think we had over 400 or 500 kids there show up. Second time doing it. So doing those community outreach. We have the inclusive Easter egg hunt, thanks to Victoria organizing those things. One-on-one with the police officer. So just trying to expand our engagement, our outreach, community policing in the community. So, the citizens and the taxpayers know their police officers, that, we're not strangers. I mean, we have a new young force. We try to get out there to introduce ourselves. So everyone's like, hey, that's Officer so-and-so, that's Officer so-and-so. That's what we want to get back to. We want to get back to that close-knit feeling as a community. And I hope we can continue to do that and continue to grow those types of programs that we're doing in the city.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Brumbaugh?
One thing I'd done when I realized there were several council members that have rentals here in the city, I told the code officers, I want them properties checked. I want them checked. What's fair for one is fair for all. And I was hoping they'd come back with a good report, which they did. They did. But I just wanted to make sure that, oh, this guy got away with this, that guy over there got away with that. No, it's equal for everybody. It's equal. I went with Joe, code officer down there, the other day, and there was a house in Sunbury, and it wasn't real bad, but there was a couple weeds that a little higher than what they should have been. Joe said, I know this case. He said, I'm going to talk to her. Woman's probably, I don't know, 75, 80 years old, laying in a hospital bed in the front room. You can't go in there and give this lady a ticket. The nurse, the male nurse that was in there with her, said, I'll take care of her. Well, went by again the other day, guess what? He took care of it. Now that's the way things should be. Down there, the mayor's office, the code office, the street department, they should all work together. And I think we made a big difference in the last couple of weeks. Now, another thing that I'm upset about, this is getting off the subject a little bit.
1 minute, Mr. Brumbaugh.
Oh.
Make it quick.
Okay. The skill machines in town, okay? We're losing a lot of money on them. People aren't paying their way. And it's not for the store owners, it's for the people that own the machines and take the bulk of the money out of the city. They are responsible to pay these, okay? Now, one other thing, real quick, I only have 30 seconds left. Monday night, is everybody familiar where the diner is in Sunbury? It's on Market Street, okay? I would like you and your friends and your neighbors to join us down there this coming Monday, okay, October 27th at 6 o'clock. We're putting the coffee on. If you want cookies, bring some.
We have council.
That's council meeting.
You have a council meeting?
Yeah. So don't make that 6. I mean, of course, we meeting at 5. Make it a little bit early.
Okay, we're gonna change it. This is going to be, please listen, the 28th. Next day, that'll be a Tuesday, same time at 6 o'clock, okay? And bring your neighbors, bring your, anybody that's concerned. You know, Victoria, you certainly are invited.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bruma.
Oh, I'm done.
You just wanted to make sure we were paying attention.
Don't worry, I'll get the word out for you. We'll get the word out for you.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
I want everybody there. I don't
Got
care, and Democrats or Republicans, it doesn't matter, everybody's the same.
Okay,
Right.
over to Ms. Sprinkle again.
Mr.
Positives.
Brumbaugh, you are a tough act to follow.
Let me remind you of the question here. Positive initiatives, programs that you are excited to maybe expound upon or continue supporting.
One of the things, I mean, I know I can come across as negative, but our school district is doing quite a few good things. With one of the biggest things right now that they've created over the last 2 or 3 years is our 339 Pathways programs. Our high school currently has 5 different pathways for students to enter. There's the diversified occupation program, which is just for seniors, and that can be any profession whatsoever. They try to find the students a placement in whatever they want to be. Last year we had a student down at the gentleman's barber shop because he wanted to learn how to be a barber. Then we also have a medicals pathway. We have an education pathway. We have our construction pathway, which is fantastic. If you've been down at the stadium, that pavilion down at the stadium was pretty much built by Shikellamy students. There was some help with T. Ross Brothers, from T. Ross Brothers and Zartman's, but for the most part, it was Shikellamy students learning the construction trade, putting in the time and the labor to build that. And they're also currently in the process of finishing up renovation of the library inside the high school. So they're getting hands-on experience. A couple of the seniors from last year had job opportunities, had job offers before they even left the high school, before they even graduated. And same thing with diversified occupation. We've had quite a few students leave there with job offers, some of them multiple job offers before they left the high school. And our newest one is our entrepreneurship program, which is sort of like a business type one. And that just started this year. I would like to see all of these programs continue and move forward with them. And if we, in the future, we identify other specialty areas where we might be able to create another program, I'd be more than willing to entertain those because these are good for our students because not every student goes to college. I think the last number I heard is about 60 to 65% of our students do not go on to further their education after they walk out our doors. So if they can have a job offer, I'm in favor of getting them a job offer.
Thank you. Ms. Rosencrantz?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we do well is the community involvement, and I would like to see that keep going and improving upon it. And again, I spoke of these programs earlier, which is a SWEET program that's bringing education into our city, and that's going to bring tourism in as well. The skate park, it's promoting healthy movement for our children and adults, not just children, but in adults. So I support the skateboard, the nonprofit. It's going to take about $1.2 million to put in a new skate park, and I support them, and whatever efforts I can do to help with that, I will be doing. The Oppenheimer Playground, it's a great program space in the city that's open in the summertime. Ron Pratt does a great job with that. It also has the lunch program there because the food hunger in our city is so great. So at least, you know, the summer we know those kids are getting lunch Monday through Friday. The other thing is like that community involvement, as we talked about Jeff in the code office and the community service hours. We just bought a whole bunch of Christmas decorations, and guess what? They're all put together because of community service. They put them together for us. That saves the Light Fest committee a lot of time. But it's like those little things that if we can involve our community, we can involve the youth, and we do that. And one of the biggest things right now, I just talked to the whole neighborhood because they do the window painting, all the windows at Christmas time. They have so many volunteers, they don't know what to do with them, but that's all right. Well, they're going to find more windows. But if you just give the citizens something to be proud of, to drive past that window and say, you know, that child is going to take pride in their city, okay? And we do that well at the holidays, decorating the city. We have people, right now I'm doing a light pole fundraiser. I'm almost done. We've almost have every pole sponsored on Market Street, Front Street, and Cameron Park. $20 light pole. We have businesses that are not even in Sunbury, Northumberland, Shamokin Dam, Mifflinburg, that are sponsoring poles because they love Sunbury and they want to see that hometown feel come here. And also just the Santa House. We have children that have been volunteering for years. They come in, they play an elf, they're in the parade, and they look forward to that every year. And what that does is we have that reading program, we're promoting literacy. So there are so many things that we're doing right in the city. And that community involvement, and if we can, you know, Danielle that does the river cleanup, they just did one this past weekend. That helps the Chesapeake Bay, keeps our community clean. You know, if we give the community something to do and take pride in the city, that's what it's all about. And so, thank you. That's all I say.
Thank you, Ms. Rosencrantz. Mr. Bowman, positive initiative.
One of the things that I've seen, and I saw it pop up mostly during COVID, and they continue to keep it on, is helping kids with food insecurity. I know I've seen a number of initiatives come back from my son's schoolwork, or just, you know, things from the PTA that I see that are trying to help kids out that might be a little food insecure when they leave school. Personally speaking, that was me when I was growing up. You know, I got my one hot meal a day from school. So seeing that the school district has been doing this, and it's something that I would like to continue on with and maybe expand upon over the summertime and see what that looks like. But yeah, that's really what I have to.
Thank you.
Keep it short and sweet.
That looks like our time for today. I want to thank everyone for coming out, and I want to thank all the candidates, especially for coming out and speaking today. Pleasure to have all of you. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.